don't understand. Anyone in the comments section, I'm gonna have to fucking upload this fucking video because I need answers now. I'm gonna have to fucking upload this just so people in the comments can actually tell me about this. People in the comments, is this a thing? Do people get kicked out for not playing meta, whatever the fuck it is over there? And are kill for one groups and then farm a problem in Party Finder? He looks like he's about to spit on me. Oh no, Drac, that's gross. Ew, Bro, hide. Drac is being mean. Is this? No, video is not even running. Okay. Right, Drac has a video. Job balance is overrated. 14 discussion. Oh, actually, you guys don't fucking see me again. I'm pretty sure that he's gonna appear here as well. So.
Outside is getting cold and dry, which is why.
Okay. Good start.
Why you should be keeping your insides warm and moist with GamerSup's new teas for morning time, sleepy time, or any time. Use code DRAC for 10% off your purchases.
Okay.
Dude, I really feel like that the people that balance Dark Knight against Breaker, they have nothing perfect balance.
Job balance is overrated.
Okay.
There, I said it. Not to say that it isn't important. Of course it is. Every job should be able to complete every bit of content in the game. And
hold up. Alright, let's keep watching.
And right now they can. The pristine level to which they've balanced jobs in Final Fantasy XIV, however, is also a reason why the job design is feeling a bit stale. Whether it's every job's rotation revolving around a 2-minute window, or every tank having a progressively similar kit. The gaps between performance fade, but so does job diversity. But is job balance in a PvE game even that important to begin with? Honestly, only as much as we think it does, and that's what I want to talk about in this video.
The 2-minute problem. Chad, how many of you think the 2-minute meta is a problem? I'm actually curious what you guys think. Because, like, I don't think it's a problem. The 2-minute meta is not a problem, of course. All jobs now lose a lot of, like, job personality because they're all shoved into 2 minutes, but, like, the fights are what is gonna be fun around the PvE content. It's not gonna be your fucking funny rotation. No one plays specifically... No one raids because they really like their fucking rotation, because like it does. You would do the same rotation whether it's gonna be 1 minute, 2 minute, or 3 minutes in duration. And the rotation is just it's gotta be the same, whether or not it's 2 minutes or not. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yeah, but a lot of people think it's a problem.
In an interview, Yoshi P was asked about 2-minute windows and the homogenization of jobs. This was his response from a Reddit post. He says, "That's a difficult question."
Wait. I like that the question was like in Portuguese.
We have skill rotations varying between 60 and 120 seconds for the most intense phases, and that's how it works currently. But the reason it's like this today is that we've received, in the past, feedback from all over the world saying that the timing of fights were difficult. It was difficult to align skills between classes. We were asked to unify everything. And precisely because we received these requests to homogenize this, we homogenized it. We're okay making things a little crazy and having different things between all the...
I gotta point out, like, nobody is complaining about the 2-minute meta for good reasons. It's just, like, some people who are just missing, like, the complexity of some jobs, that's it. But, like, I can see how that this has been a requested thing, especially, like, in countries like Japan or... yeah, mainly, like, the more Asian countries would probably enjoy something like this more than the Western. The Westerns are a bit weird. We're very World of Warcraft spoiled.
The classes, but again, we made these changes because we got feedback that it was too difficult before. We understand that there are 2 types of players, so going forward, regardless of whether we change this or not, the community needs to reach a consensus. What is better? Before changing something, we need to get feedback from everyone. Personally,
I mean, it is all our fault. Chat, it's your fault. I hope you understand that you're the problem that Lynx is talking about.
I don't care so much about 2-minute windows as much as job identity. I don't think they really go hand in hand. From my point of view, as long as DPS checks are emphasized in endgame content, making it more streamlined between jobs just makes sense.
Please. No. Oh, come on.
That's a whole other conversation though. What did stick out to me was the call for the community to reach a consensus on this type of issue. For a long time, the devs have avoided doing anything that would turn different parts of the community against each other.
Lala chairs.
Things like adding strictly support classes because they might be too strong, and then toxic players will gatekeep other players if they don't play those jobs in Party Finder. The same goes for if they start adding more unique design aspects to different jobs.
There are no talent trees in this game. What?
Min-maxers might find a way to break the game and make them not part of the meta, or most efficient tactic available for any newbies in the audience today. Not that I think min-maxers or hardcore players are doing anything wrong, but how can the player base reconcile their differences and land on a common solution? I have a few ideas, but the first goes back to how I opened this video. We need to decide what kinds of job balance actually matter.
I mean, it's hard to say what kind of balance. Like, the reason we don't have talent trees is because we have the option of playing multiple fucking jobs. It kind of reminds me of Monster Hunter Hunting Horn. People hated that they made Hunting Horn easier to use by beginners because they liked that Hunting Horn was only used by a select few, and it was OP if you had a good Hunting Horn in your team. I kind of get that, yeah, I do. But in terms of Final Fantasy XIV, it's like, on one hand, I don't mind the 2-minute meta. I don't feel like that is the problem. Obviously, the personality of the jobs that needs a bit of work. But to be fair, it's hard to say like what the fuck to do with the game that's not gonna piss off one half of the community while pleasing the other. Some people like 2 minutes and some people hate 2 minutes. Some people like their Astro, or some people are hoping it's gonna get reworked soon into something else. It's like, it's hard to say. We're never gonna come on like one fucking solution that people are gonna be happy with. But people want changes, and changes are being provided. Like, as much as we want to talk and like meme that it's all the community is full, but like at the end of the day, most of the stuff that's happening in game is because the community requests it. People wanted a reworked paladin. There you go. Here you go. Eat this. Yum yum. Delicious paladin buffs. An entire fucking rework mid-expansion. It's like, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Though, to be fair, most of these problems are created by Square Enix to begin with. Not just because we ask, but because how they execute it. At the end of the day, you can do whatever the fuck you want, as long as you do it well. But if you do it shit, and it's like, some of these decisions can definitely be like prevented with a bit of foresight. But it's hard to say like what the process at the company is. And chances are, it's hard to say what is their focus right now is. You know how a lot of people complain about like, oh man, add-ons are a problem. They're never gonna develop an anti-cheat or whatever the fuck. A lot of people will blame Square Enix, like, why aren't you developing an anti-cheat for these, hackers that are doing these like wacky fucking rotations, or making the game unfair for others. Little did they know, they do. With every patch, a lot of stuff in the code changes. There's a reason some add-ons will just not work for days before other, the coders will adjust them to the game. Or remember the whole thing where you had to use a beta of ACT for it to actually work? Like, anti-cheat is in the game. They're just working on it bit by bit. It's like people are just not seeing the changes. But same here. Obviously, I'm just going on a tangent. It's like, it's hard to say what's going to be the correct solution, because I don't think nobody fucking knows.
Now, I've been asked, how can you say job balance is overrated when you've played since 2.0? Admittedly, my memory is pretty poor on the details because they weren't a big deal to me at the time. I was a much worse player, and I didn't understand how to even properly do my rotation. What I do remember very clearly, though, is Paladin being the preferred tank in all the groups I ran with. That is, until 2.1 when warrior changes made it much stronger, and that trend didn't slow down for a few expansions. If you're curious just how rough they had it originally, I'll link this video.
I really don't fucking like this video. Chat. Someone... for fuck's sake. Here's my advice for anyone trying to talk about balance or trying to suggest on any modern, conversation. Like, hey, what is the balance? Where should it be going? Because, like, the 2-minute meta is a very recent thing. We still had 90 seconds and we had 3 minutes back in Shadowbringers. It's like... the whole conversation, like, keep it within expansion. Don't do this whole fucking walk back into history about how hard and how different it used to be. It's like, changes happen for a reason. But it's like going back and fucking reminiscing about the times that have been. And he even said, like, 10 years ago, why does this fucking matter for the conversation right now? Who gives a fuck? 10 years have gone past by. People who were, like... people who were too young to play video games are playing this game and clearing ultimates right now in that fucking time. It's like, whatever happened 10 years ago, it just doesn't fucking matter right now for the current balance. The same with World of Warcraft. A lot of people will always say, like, Classic used to be harder, it used to be more fun, it used to be better. I don't know. It might have been. I don't give a shit. I want the current fucking patch fixed.
For Mr. Happy going over all those changes as they were announced. Thank you, Happy. Now, this is a little bit different from what I'm talking about now, because balance in that case needed to happen in order for Warrior just to do a comparable job to Paladin, who had a much stronger kit at the time. You are basically making life harder for yourself and your group by playing Warrior.
You also need to keep in mind, the game had 2 times less jobs than it has right now, including 2 times less spells. The more jobs you're going to get, the much more difficult is going to be the process of balancing it. Sure, it might be a lazy way of putting everything into 2 minutes, but on the other hand, we're not dealing with, like, the World of Warcraft issue where one fucking class is going to be so fucking overtuned that other classes are just going to be, like, literally declined if they're anywhere near your queue. So either get to leveling a new rogue, warlock, or whatever the fuck is the flavor of the month, or I don't know, go do pet battles.
Wrath stacks. That being said, after these changes, the gripe shifted from Warrior not being good enough to doing everything too well. They could tank well, do great damage, all while Paladin still only shined in how little damage they could take, which is kind of the point of the class. But anyway, while they were both viable at this point and they could complete content, it was more the perception that Paladin was not getting as many goodies, which led to resentment to Warrior players, or at least the job in general. I am interested to hear in the comments if this was a shared experience with you guys though. In my opinion, adjustments and balance changes are much more important when the current design prevents jobs from 1. Being able to participate in content effectively, 2. Being useful in certain content, and 3. Being enjoyable to play in any content at all.
I would like to point out
From 1.
Let's
being
go
able
through
to
his points
participate
again.
in content effectively.
Being able to participate in content effectively. That's all jobs. Right now, that's all jobs. All of them can contribute and be effective in every type of content.
2. Being
useful in certain content. Again, that's all of them. Like, Final Fantasy is all about mechanics. However you want to feel. Like, some jobs are going to be more useful, but they're usually, like, more useful in very super niche mechanics. Like, for example, Astro and Macrocosmos are going to be so fucking useful in Phoenix. Remember when you take a lot of damage and then you're put to, like, you're not going to be put below 1 HP, and then you Macrocosmos and everyone's full without having to use Healer LB. Some people had to use it. It's like, content is doable, but it's like, this niche is like so rare. So every job is going to be useful in certain content.
useful in certain content. And 3.
Being enjoyable to play in any content. That is going to be the main issue. That is, like, at least that's my main issue. Like, because some jobs are just not fucking fun. They're just not fun. They're just dumb, stinky, smelly poo-poo. They're just so boring, especially the healers right now. Give me a sec. Oh, I'm back. Hello. Everyone's returning.
being enjoyable to play in any content at all. I'm bringing these up hopefully to drive the point home about the differences I see between balance problems that need adjusting versus what players perceive as problems. Of course, encounter design and balance also play a role in what changes jobs need, but right now I'm going off the assumption that job balance is being done because of how encounters are designed.
I hate going through MSQ and solo content as a healer. Yeah, I kind of get that. As a healer, it's kind of... You don't have a lot of specifically PvE offensive abilities. You are... yeah, healers are like an entire fucking conversation. Why they're boring and as fuck and stupid and so few people fucking play them. There's like a whole list of issues with healers right now.
Now, there are still some jobs that excel over others. DPS that do more damage, tanks that take less damage, and healers that heal more effectively. I really don't think it's possible for the devs to completely prevent these differences without making every job have the exact same rotation, but with different animations, basically.
Let's go over that list again.
Off the assumption that job balance is being done because of how encounters are designed. Now, there are still some jobs that excel over others. DPS that do more damage, tanks that take
DPS that do more damage. Usually... I mean, to be fair, usually it's like... Yeah, there's always going to be like specific jobs that are meant to be optimized and be played around, and they will do more damage. But they are essentially not. They're not a job that does more damage on their own. They're essentially what I've learned about this game is, for example, Black Mage Samurai. The reason they are a good job not because they do more damage, is because during the RDPS phases or buffs, they're the most capable of utilizing any buffs the best, right? So they're so it's like sometimes like Samurai was going to perform roughly the same as some of the other jobs, but they are more capable of squeezing out more damage and optimization out of their own rotation, and specifically optimization always is going to account for buff windows. So it's not always just about how much damage you do like on your own.
take less damage, and
Tanks that take less damage. Honestly, the only issue with tanks, the only differentiation, is the cooldown on their invuln. Sure, their invulns are different. That's so wacky and quirky, but like nobody cares at this point, honestly, what their like invulns do. Sure, it gives a bit of personality to the job, but the only balancing and differentiation between tank jobs is the cooldown on their invuln. How often they can take tank busters without wasting cooldowns, you know? What mechanics they can do on their own without, you know. I like this funny pose, like, huzzah! So it's like, early top mechanics, for example. Remember the transition, this is like during, after Ponticrator, sometimes tanks would kitchen sink and then one tank would invuln both tank busters from MNF. Sometimes. That was like previously, but then it's like the timings on the how tanks take tank busters, etc. It's like the only like actual proper difference isn't just what they do, because at the end of the day, they're just going to do their 2-minute rotation and they're going to do the same cooldowns. They're not even going to call the cooldowns by their names. They're going to use their, you know, basic mitigation, their 2 minutes and their 90 minutes. You know, and they're going to invuln this mechanic. So it's like none of them are able to take more or less damage. It's just at the end of the way the fights are designed. It's like the only difference between tanks is the cooldown on their invul.
and healers that heal more effectively.
Heal more effectively. I guess I can agree with that. Sometimes, depending on the healers, it can be more comfortable or less comfortable progging specifically. But once you have a timeline for the entire fight, whoever the fuck heals more or less doesn't fucking matter. It's just gonna be healers pressing the right button at the right time and then gonna continue glaring or broiling. Or dosing or maleficing. It's like, again, the difference between these jobs is not as... it exists. It's there. It's just not as important to this game as some people might think or make it out to be.
I really don't think it's possible for the devs to completely prevent these differences without making every job have the exact same rotation, but with different animations, basically. Even if it feels like we're getting kind of close. Overall, though, I think we have the best balance between jobs of any MMO in the market right now. I'm simply afraid that by not cultivating a sense of diversity in job design, modern balance has been conditioning these vocal players to expect the same things from every job and get very upset when it deviates. Remember how upset people got when Reaper was shown off and people thought it was too fast? Or at least
Who the fuck was upset about Reaper? Who the fuck thought Reaper was too fast? What?
Yoshi P anticipated that backlash. At least the devs have been consistently digging in their heels with new job designs by asking the player base to actually get their hands on it before judging it. They are still apprehensive, however, about adding anything that could be considered too strong because players will gatekeep other players if they don't use the strong jobs.
I mean, people are still gatekeeping, but to be fair, at the moment we're gatekeeping those jobs out. Because, like, that's like the whole conversation with Black Mage. I know I've been in my own fucking Black Mage drama recently, where people lock out Black Mages out of their parties if they're being too fucking stupid. But it's like, at this point, I've also realized it's not just me. Some people, I've actually been shown recently that I'm not the only fucking person. So the gatekeeping is happening, but people aren't gatekeeping the strongest jobs. So some jobs are literally being gatekept out of the fucking party because people can't fucking play them. Strong or not strong job, it's like, unless it's all about the players, it's all about the mechanics. If people are playing the strongest job but can't do fucking mechanics, who gives a fuck what you're gatekeeping? It was true in Stormblood, to be honest, but in Stormblood people didn't want Black Mage Samurai because they had no buff. I mean, that's true as well. But like, if we're talking specifically about the current, not meta, I don't want to call it meta, but like the current environment where people are raiding, Party Finder, Statics, etc. It's like, you can try to optimize and see what job is better, but unless the player can't fucking play anything, it's like, this is literally the situation where people will literally lock out jobs out of Party Finder groups, not because they're strong or weak, but because historically, majority of the players of that job can't fucking play that job. In European, not a majority can fucking play Black Mage, I promise you. A lot of them can play Samurai, but that's like a 50-50 chance when you go into Party Finder. Same with tanks. You can gatekeep war, like, you can bring in warriors for their short cooldown on their invuln or, self-healing, but if they can't fucking mitigate, what is the point? And historically, at this point, again, as well, like, chat, how many times have you gone into a dungeon or into a Party Finder group or you joined a static and the tank is just a wet napkin because they cannot plan their mitigation or cooldown, or they cannot reference anything to use for their own advantage and they focus on damage instead? Like, how many, like, I'm pretty sure there's enough people to prove this point that, like, a tank's performance is going to rely whether or not the player knows how to fucking mitigate it instead of, how well they can meet the mechanics. Again, at the end of the day, it depends how you tackle mechanics. It doesn't matter if every fucking job is going to have the same fucking rotation. If they can't do the mechanics of the raid, it doesn't matter if their rotation is flavorable, enjoyable, or the most complicated or easy. If they can't do fucking mechanics, they can fuck off. Pretty much, yeah.
And to be fair, they're right. That absolutely will happen. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that a disparity between jobs should be the goal. We should simply accept that it's gonna happen.
Why is your windbreaker sorry, why is your pop filter so dirty? Drag, clean up your mic. Why is there so much dust and why is your pop filter so dirty? Clean it up.
Fun should be the primary goal of design. Balance comes after. Every job should still be viable in every encounter. Everybody should be able to complete any fight on any job. It's just that a certain meta, a clear meta, will emerge eventually. And
I mean, there always are. There will be metas of, like, however you want to feel about any game. There's always going to be a combination of champions in League, classes in WoW, jobs in Final Fantasy, specific jobs in combination of jobs in Lost Ark. Any game is going to have a particular strongest meta. But in our case, where sometimes it is not true. Sometimes the devs will fuck up. That is true. But majority of the time, all jobs can clear content. That is true. So it's like, whatever.
And if there's one thing that the loudest community members hate more than anything, it's when their job isn't considered meta. Now,
Yeah, but they can fuck off and suck my dick. Like, if they're gonna be loud and fucking annoying, it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People will always complain. That is going to be a never-ending stream for, you know, community managers that they have to deal with, that their favorite job is not doing enough damage. But at the end of the day, if a person plays like shit, it doesn't matter if their job does good or bad damage. They're gonna play like shit. If they and see, this is like, I am yammering and repeating the same thing. But chat, and I want you to tell me, how many players that do mechanics right have not clear content? Their damage will literally matter very little, specifically with how a lot of the fights are balanced. Not all of them, mind you. I will admit, some fights literally need you to actually press your fucking buttons, but the majority of the fights, the way their balance is, if people do the fucking mechanics, they clear. So doing more or less damage, that only gives you opportunity to do more mistakes. Or playing a bit safer, I guess. Like, you can disconnect for a couple of DCDs more, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, again, it's like, it doesn't matter if the tank, that particular tank is meta. If the person playing the tank doesn't know the basics of tanking, or, you know, positioning, or just, you know, they're playing like a DPS player, but without using, like, again, a good example of one of the tanks I had during like the very first top week. Like, I talked to some really good Dark Knights just for reference after. The tank in my group was dying to autos on P2, and they used they used 2 TBNs within 2.5 minutes. But the healers were being blamed by that tank. I talked to other tanks that have cleared and progged that fight. At the time, they were P4 and P5 respectively. No, hold on. I don't remember when one of them, but one of the tanks was definitely P5 and Party Finder. And they both show me their logs. Multitudes. They're using TBN on every instance of damage, either on other players, on themselves, and they're not dying to autos. Sometimes they might need some help on some mechanics, but like, their mitigation is actually being used. So it's like, it doesn't matter if the Dark Knight does the most damage in whatever fucking meta. If the tank player is a fucking idiot and doesn't know how to use their, you know, their specific job kit effectively, it doesn't matter what is the meta if if they're not dealing with mechanics. I would understand if we had to level a different alt to go through the story again just to get another class, but you literally can have all classes in one character in 14, exactly. So the outrage for their classes not being the meta is confusing to me. I mean, I do kind of understand because I play healers, and like, it's like I can only play 2 healers per position. But sometimes there will be a flavor of the patch, I'd say. And you know how black mages will also complain. It's like, I should be doing the most damage because my job is the most complicated. No. Some jobs can do more damage than you sometimes, depending on the balance. Sometimes they will. Just because you're playing the hardest job doesn't mean you're supposed to be compensated with the most damage. At the end of the day, black mages might be losing damage mainly because they're dying.
The dev teams are the ones who have been making these changes up until this point. That's true, only because players have been asking for them, and now players are complaining about them. So,
hold on, give me a sec.
The first thing to tackle: who are the problem players?
Who are the problem players? Chat, he's about to talk about you, because you're stinky.
Theory is that it's the boobs.
What? Chat, he has my attention. Let's see where he's gonna go with it.
I think the player base fits somewhere along this graph. You have casual players to the left and hardcore players to the right, with midcore players sitting nicely between them.
Okay, keep going.
These 3 points, I think players are actually pretty chill. They don't bother anyone, they know what they want, and they play the content they like without expecting all other content to be catered to them. As you start getting to the center, however, from each polar end, the sense of ego and entitlement starts to rise.
Don't bully me, it's not my fault.
Leading to toxic pockets next to both camps. I bring this up because generally it's
Chad, you heard it here first. Nipples are toxic.
thought of that the hardcore players are the toxic elitists, but having spent time around them, it's actually not true. Yeah, they might make things a headache for the devs by min-maxing and finding ways to break the game in ways that the devs didn't realize it could happen, but they're also the ones figuring out how we can optimize our rotations, what our best in slot gear is, and what the best strats are for each fight. Hardcore players also exist in all forms of content, not just raiding. Be nice to them, because a lot of the time they just want to help, and at worst, mind their own business. The toxic
UVRP. We just want to help you, or we'll fucking kill you.
elitists are the ones who see all this information
See, it's funnier because I've seen that movie, and I know how that movie starts, so it's a lot funnier.
from the hardcore players, fail to understand it, and then simply regurgitate it while flaming anyone who isn't playing that way. You know, the people who will be in a party with Mr. Happy and then give him crap for not doing the Happy Bramble strat because better strats have come out at that point.
Mind you, again, I expect this to change in the future as more optimal strategies come out.
These people may be decent players, but
I remember Happy was really fucking frustrated on stream because someone in Party Finder was telling him, "You're not doing the Happy strat correctly," and Happy's like, "Excuse me? I made the Happy strat. What do you mean I'm not doing the Happy strat correctly? I know what the Happy strat. What?" And someone in Party Finder was giving him shit because he was like not doing the, you know, some weird version of Happy strat that he was not aware of. But people call it Happy strat.
they think they're much better and smarter than they actually are, which leads to a lot of problems. You can also spot these players by their mentor crowns. But how can somebody be a toxic casual? Trust me, they exist.
Toxic casual. Okay.
Toxic casuals see meta strats, jobs, builds, and feel personally attacked by them. People enjoying the game differently in a way that they don't see as fun are actively hurting the game in their minds.
He does have a really good point. A lot of the casual players will very often feel they're attacked by any, like, midcore or even more elite raiders when given advice or like proposed strats. It's like it's a reasonable it's an understandable reaction, but it is a weirdly, like, you don't understand that, like, we all kind of go through that when people give us advice and we're very defensive about, like, why the fuck are you telling me how to play my game? Well, you don't pay my sub, you know, the usual meme. But once you get a bit further to the, like, just a bit higher level, just to get through that threshold, you kind of are also, like, there's never an understanding or, like, an explanation why you felt that way. You also become confused at the same players. You also, like, don't understand, like, why the fuck are these people, like, feeling so defensive about this?
Big pulls? That's sweaty. Healer DPS? Not my job. If you like or do either of those things,
You're a sweaty, toxic tryhard trying to suck the fun out of the game for everyone.
you can also spot these players by their mentor crowns. These players have an inflated sense of entitlement and believe that not only should no one ever suggest that they could improve, they better keep that kind of gameplay out of their groups. Now, are there a lot of these players, or are they just loud? There's enough to...
They're allowed. These are the players that demand that cute mounts like the axolotl are given to the casuals rather than as an achievement to raiders. No, casuals, you can fuck off. I want cute shit as well. I want to earn my cute shit. I want a cute fucking axolotl mount. You can suck my dick.
to give significant feedback, but the fact that they give it isn't what bothers me. What bothers me is the defeatist attitude of everyone else believing that it's a losing battle to even try speaking up. This is why I periodically keep trying to have gratitude threads about what you guys enjoy.
Chat, who wants to tell me what's wrong with this picture? He's using light mode. You can... How many of you are feeling the strain on your eyes right now? How many of you are feeling like you're looking at the sun?
Joy about the game. It's not to stroke the devs' egos like so many people seem to think. It's about giving feedback about what should
blind.
stay to counter the negativity. If you like something but never mention how you like it,
Hey.
guess what? There are plenty of people who hate that thing and want it changed. And since they're the only ones talking about it, they give the illusion of being the dominant force in the community. It's not that it's a losing battle, it's that a lot of us, myself included, take things for granted and don't even bother showing up to the fight. By the time we're mad enough to talk about it ourselves, it's too late. And to the 14 team, you could make things a little easier for us by making a section of the forum specifically for positive feedback. I think the general understanding is, at least for me, is that it's to bring up issues, problems, and suggestions rather than to give you an idea of what we think doesn't need to be changed.
No, that is a bad idea. That is a very bad idea. No. Like, it doesn't matter which section of the forum. Even if you give positive feedback, there's going to be someone commenting under your positive feedback saying, no, I disagree. This is a stupid fucking positive feedback. You fucking delete this. I bet your mentor and a Lala player. Go sit on your Lala stool. Go away, bad. Yeah, so yeah, people are gonna argue whether or not you give a negative or positive thing. You know how I'm gonna tell you like this. Use the rule of comedians, right? How they know whether or not a joke worked. They say a joke. If people laugh, joke works. If they say a joke and people don't laugh, if it's quiet, it's fine. We'll add a laugh track in post. But they know the joke doesn't land, or not the right crowd, or not the right setup, right? They already take up the feedback from that. Same here. People release content. People make a game. They release it. If people complain about something, something's not exactly right. Something is not like... If the complaint is like, my job needs buff, please buff, it's like, no, they're not gonna care about that. But it's like, if there's something that they release and people aren't complaining about, like they release haircuts, people will talk about it for a bit and then they don't complain about them at all. It worked. People are using them. It's in the game. It's now part of the game. Goodbye. It's like, yeah, they remove chitin. Everyone memed on it. Everyone, still memeing like, bring back chitin. People are not complaining about it though. There aren't continuous forum pages like, hey, I feel like this raid instance is unplayable because I do not have chitin and my job planning is very different now and my balance, etc. No, people are still memeing about it. It's just memes, but no one's complaining about it. It was a good change. Well, obviously it's subjective, but it's not that big of a deal as people made it out to be at the very start. It's like, I might get shit on, but I don't think chitin was such a big deal. Same, I don't think chitin was such a big deal. It gave complexity to the job, but it wasn't that fucking important. It wasn't that really fun to play around. It gave you some complexity, made you feel better when you played it correctly, but at the end of the day, So same with like Living Dead, people have complained about it a lot. Same with Paladins, people have complained about like the way Paladin plays and the balancing. Paladin rework happened. Yeah, some people still say it's kind of bland, it's more work, it's more boring to play, but no one's saying it's bad. Same with Living Dead on Dark Knight. People have been complaining about Living Dead for a while because it's such a resource consumer. It is such a very niche cooldown to play around. But once they changed it and gave, the lifesteal for Dark Knights where they can heal themselves up and not die without the, babysitting of healers, no one's saying like some people did say like this is a weird change, but no one's complaining about it. And that is how they know that some of these things work. You don't need positive feedback. They don't need it. They know it works because you are playing and you're having fun still, and that particular addition is making you miserable. That is the process here. I love chitin. I wish it wasn't removed. The only thing I hated when it got removed was it messed my rotation up because my muscle memory got fucked trying to press a button that doesn't exist anymore. That's understandable. Like some people do prefer chitin, but it's like after removable, that it's not a drastic change. So again, it's the same here. I don't agree that positive like reinforcement or a thing that is where people talk about that this needs to stay. Because like how do they know that something is being planned to be removed or changed? They don't know. It would be a lot of Astro players just saying, please stop changing Astro. We like it the way it is right now. But then they would be this would also at least help them. Though to be fair, if this positive reinforcement forum section existed, Astros would start posting like, hey, don't change Astros. We like it the way it is right now. But there would also be met like specifically with the backlash of people who are like, no, I don't like the way it plays. It plays weird. I don't want to hold Astrodyne for 30 fucking seconds. I want something else. It's weird. I used to love it in Stormblood. I don't like it right now. It's stupid. And then there would be a clash between people in the forums. A clash and arguments and debates between people in the positive section. So no, I don't agree with this idea at all.
Anything addressing this, whether or not I've missed it or it could be added, would be a huge help. So what does any of this have to do with job balance? Well, I'm finally getting to that. By making jobs more interesting, having them do unique things, or even have rotations that don't fall in line with the norm, sub jobs are going to excel and some will fall behind. At least in terms of how good they are, not really how fun they are. But we've established that. Gaps between their performance will increase. That shouldn't be the goal, but it's unavoidable. Make jobs fun and make sure that they can clear all kinds of content. I'd even like it if they made a few jobs more
Chat, is that a ghost or is that just some weird blanket or bag just kind of moving around because it acquires sentience? You don't see it, but like right behind me, if you look a bit at this bag while he's talking, it's moving. I feel like it's alive.
complex. Just have like a little chart during character creation to show how beginner friendly.
No, this is a bad idea. You're not... I'll just put myself here. Air forklift certified. No, this is bad idea. No, do not do this.
Certain ones are. Works for fighting games.
Because then people would just copy paste this thing just to show... Wait, hold on. Did he just compare it with fighting games? Hold on. Hold on. Let me put myself back here. What the fuck did he say?
That they can clear all kinds of content. I'd even like it if they made a few jobs more complex. Just have like a little chart during character creation to show how beginner friendly certain ones are.
No. That's dumb. How beginner friendly? They're all beginner friendly at the very start. And by the time they get to the point where the job is getting too complicated for them, they've already either tried or unlocked other jobs, or they've already done some research and exploration, or they talk to other players. At the very start, what would be the stats here? I don't know what the stats would be here. Like ease of use, difficulty, vitality. Like the jobs are just not that fucking different for this to be a thing. Like the only thing that might have been different, like Black Mage's fucking graph would just look like a fucking ley line instead. That's it. Everything else is like there's not such a vast difference between job that it requires this kind of graph.
Works for fighting games.
I know. Yes, now I've seen the stat. I just refuse to address them.
Yeah.
Whatever. Not that I think that jobs should be purposefully inaccessible, but I just don't think it's a problem if not everyone can pick it up right away.
Look at
In
that,
any
it's
case,
moving. It's
players
moving.
and their
It's alive.
perceptions are the problem. So what do we do to address the issue of people getting kicked out of groups for not playing the right jobs? I have...
Who is kicking out people for not playing the right jobs? I just don't let people in if they're a shit Black Mage or they're in my blacklist. Who is kicking out people for not playing the right... What is the meta right now? Chad, any of you, like, NA players? Because I'm assuming this is, like, coming from, the NA side. Because, like, or maybe JP. It's like, I don't understand. Like, what is he talking about right now? Who is getting kicked out? Are there examples? Like, I don't... Is there, like, drama I missed out on? Who is getting kicked out for not playing the right job? Excuse me?
I have two solutions. Solution one is having a toggle in Party Finder between for fun and hardcore. People who
I keep forgetting he's a blind writer. For fun or hardcore? Let me hear that again. Sorry. I might just...
But I just don't think it's a problem if not everyone can pick it up right away. In any case, players and their perceptions are the problem. So what do we do to address the issue of people getting kicked out of groups for not playing the right job?
Jeez.
I
Let's
have
just go.
two solutions. Solution one is having a toggle in Party Finder between for fun and hardcore. People who want to...
It's either regular duty or high end duty. For fun, hardcore. I mean, you can probably find a mod that changes these fucking words. I don't know. People who rate for fun will find friends who will also want to rate for fun. Hardcore groups will... Wow, what the fuck? Why is the solution specifically Party Finder? Why is it just... This is like a very niche suggestion, just because like that's basically assuming people specifically rate through Party Finder. This will apply to NA and U, but this is not a solution for JP where people queue up. Sure, they might queue up for a for fun instance of Omega Protocol Ultimate, but like, what is the indication here? What is like the
min-max, speedrun, or do
let's
special
hear this
strats
out.
will ideally gravitate towards the hardcore tab. People who just want to play with the jobs that they want will go to the for fun. This solution allows both groups of people to find like-minded individuals.
I haven't been keeping up with Drag's streams. Was he kicked out of a Party Finder for playing something? I'm so confused. These solutions are just so like confusing to me and non-viable in my brain. I can't wrap my head around the issue here, specifically in 14.
With reduced friction. They're also left to deal with the boobs in their own respective skill levels. While certain people are still going to be toxic and gatekeep, everyone else has just as much power to refuse to play with them.
Is this a World of Warcraft video? Because I'm like, hold on. No, he talked about jobs. It's fine. I understand there are comments, but I don't understand. Is this a thing in an A? I haven't been kicked out for being a class that doesn't matter, or anyone I have been kicked out of the same way. You'll either get kicked because you are shit, or in one instance because you're from Crystal. What the fuck is the problem with Crystal? What's happening over there? NA, are you okay? What's happening over there? Don't sass me, Drac. I see you fucking making faces.
Them for their attitudes. We also have the ability to lay out the expectations in our own Party Finder groups to help weed them out more. This isn't foolproof because sometimes people lie, or they just want to stir up trouble. I'm not under the illusion that the clear for one then farm groups are going to magically disappear.
What is the problem with clear for one groups? Hold on, what the fuck?
This isn't foolproof because sometimes people lie, or they just want to stir up trouble. I'm not under the illusion that the clear for one then farm groups are going to magically disappear. But
I don't understand. Anyone in the comments section, I'm gonna have to fucking upload this fucking video because I need answers now. I'm gonna have to fucking upload this just so people in the comments can actually tell me about this. People in the comments, is this a thing? Do people get kicked out for not playing meta, whatever the fuck it is over there? And are kill for one groups and then farm a problem in Party Finder? Is there like clear for one group for fun now? Why the differentiation between for fun and hardcore? You can tell who's playing for fun and who's playing hardcore because it's either all tank run of Thalia or it's people P4 Prog, Omega Ultimate or something else. It's like, you know the difference. What am I missing? Drag, don't fucking look at me like that. I'm not saying anything weird. As someone from Crystal, I went to Aether to raid, and when I got to a Party Finder group, they were all travelers like me. Similar to with us in Chaos used to be like known as the raiding hub, but after the data center travel became a thing, and after LPDU established itself as like a more, I don't want to say dominant, but as a more preferred place for strats and community, Light became like the raiding hub now. So it's like sometimes you will have a party of just you and three like specifically chaos players. So is it more organized? Yeah, I guess that could be a word. I don't know what's happening on chaos to have an argument about that.
We do have tools to avoid these interactions through either blocking these players or reporting harassment. Hopefully.
Wait, hold on. I'm missing the train of thought here.
The ability to lay out the expectations in our own party finder
It's called the description. You can lay out the expectations there.
groups to help weed them out more. This isn't foolproof because sometimes people lie or they just want to stir up trouble. I'm not under the illusion that the clear for one then farm groups are going to magically disappear.
I'm thinking really hard on this. What is the issue with party finder groups with clear for one? Like in our like neck of the woods, people are doing this constantly. Like if anything, like the hardcore raiders are literally jumping into learning and practice groups. Like my top party finder groups in the last few days, they literally had at least 3 or like 4 people who are wearing the Omega weapons and are just there to help. Even if they're clear for 1 or for 2 or just practice groups, it's like I'm very confused. What is whatever? Let's keep moving.
We do have tools to avoid these interactions.
What is the second solution? I want to know the second
players
solution now.
Or reporting harassment. Hopefully using all these things can help us get through that initial rough patch and start cultivating a culture that promotes respecting other players. For the more casual players, having a place where they don't have to prove anything might help their confidence, which will allow them to at least stand up to more toxic players. Ideally, anyway. Also, maybe add a weekly reward for getting commended a certain number of times.
No, don't do that. People are just gonna grind the fuck out of fates because then their friends can queue in as well and commend them. I know this because I know people that have done this. I literally was farming my commends by just queuing up for fates. People would commend me because I'm a healer or a tank player, but then my friends started queuing up as well just for shits and giggles. And then it turns out I've literally seen nothing but my friends for like a good hour and a half of just grinding those fates. No extra rewards for commendations. You already get rewards by being a mentor. You getting your mentor glamour and mounts, etc. It's like no. Chad, I understand the Drac is a blind player and a more casual player, but this is again what he talked about: casuals demanding rewards. This is yeah, whatever.
It might require an entire rework of the comm system, but
that is true, actually. I apologize. I did not hear him out. What the fuck is this face? Drag, chill. What the fuck? I apologize for not listening to the end. It would require reworking the entire fucking command system and the mentor system as well, especially the mentor system. People gonna spam the please commend macro. That's true. But how many people do you know that would actually, abide by that macro? He looks like he's about to spit on me. Oh no, Drac, that's gross. Ew, Bro, hide. Drac is being mean.
couldn't hurt. Solution to, like, a lot of my ideas requires a lot more work. Instead of getting new jobs for a while, hear me out. The dev team could focus on splitting each current job into 2 specializations.
Fuck off. So fuck no. There's a certain like pros and cons to why we're gonna have like 21 or 22 jobs in Dawn Trail, right? Available to you at any time if you've leveled them up. Yeah, geared up, I guess, because you need a weapon to use it. And now imagine you give specializations to every fucking job. You literally just, if you give just one specialization to every job, it literally doubles the number of, like, technically it doubles the number of options you have as a player. No. Like, that is something healers already have to work with, and there's already like an issue with that. Technically, shield and regen are specializations, just in different jobs. It's already not fucking working out. People don't want to fucking play healers because they have to either pick regen or shield if they want to start out, and their rotation gets fucking boring as soon as you clear content. What fucking special? Okay, maybe he has an example. Maybe I paused too early. Let's hear him out.
If you've played like Black Desert Online, think Awakening versus Succession. One spec would follow the 2-minute formula, where everyone follows the same kind of rotations and timings that we have now. The other would focus on job identity. Rotations.
What the fuck? Okay.
Awakening versus Succession.
Sorry, that caught me
One
off
spec
guard
would follow
with the
2-minute
firework.
formula, where everyone follows the same kind of rotations and timings that we have now. The other would focus on job identity. Rotations could be less strict, have more branches, or just have neat abilities that otherwise wouldn't really be possible with.
Essentially, what the suggestion is, you either have a rating a rating specialization, or a specialization for RP players. Jesus Christ, chat immediately just goes, no thanks, chill guys. maybe he has a good argument against this, chill. What the fuck? So far, this is not a really good idea. Specific, like, I guess you could make the 2-spec thing work. You could make it work. If you don't want to do the talent system or anything else, the 2-spec could work, but on a different way. On a very different way. The only way I could think of, if Fizz range and casters could be interchangeable. So let's say caster Bard fucking comes back, but he does mainly magical damage, and physical version of Bard does support and physical damage. That could work. Whatever the fucking this clown fiesta, I do not agree. 2-minute meta, or what? I can't even fucking wrap my brain around what the fuck he said. Hold on.
Job, intuitions, and timings that we have now. The other would focus on job identity.
Job identity. Okay.
Rotations could be less strict, have more branches, or just have neat abilities that otherwise wouldn't really be possible with 2-minute restrictions.
So basically just a previous version where jobs had 30 second, 1 minute, 90 second, 2 minutes, and 3 minutes. So just another option for a rotation is what I'm getting. No. Like, you literally talked about people gatekeeping and kicking out people, like jobs that are being, like, I don't know what the fuck happening, but let's just assume, like, in the phenomenal scenario where someone is being kicked out, the environment is developed where people kicked out players for playing specific jobs. People will join in an instance in Party Finder, even for fun, let's say. And people are like, okay, we can use burst here. I'm ready to do trick attack. And you have this one fucking clown that says, oh, don't worry, I don't have a 2-minute burst. Meaning, you're just by this game's logic, you're griefing your group's prog. Because you either do more damage than everyone else by just being immersed in the job fantasy, or you're just not utilizing raid buffs that other people are providing and working their fucking ass off in their rotation to provide. So I have to memorize something twice. I'm assuming it's not something twice. It's something similar but different. I'm assuming is what he means. But so far, I can see this working. I can see something similar happening, where a job can, like, if they, but they would essentially have to specifically make a magical melee DPS for this. So if Ninja and Viper were magical DPS, for example, because they use magical funny spells, maybe Viper does poison damage and they use aiming gear still, and, you know, jobs could swap between specifically just straight up DPS and a specific rotation. So let's say Ninja rotation turns more Samurai-esque rotation. Hell, fucking combine both of those jobs, make them, you know, make them the specs. You know, make them the specs. Samurai and Ninja, that can work, right? Yeah, actually, the more I fucking think about it, Dragoon and Viper, those could be 2 specs. But, like, don't divide one fucking job into two different ones. Because then one job is going to be half non-viable and half maybe viable. Yeah, the only solution I can see to this, if jobs either have these options of being swapped, let's say Nocturnal, Diurnal, but for all the fucking jobs. Good magic damage tank, or self-sustain tank, or good physical damage tank, or more damage tank, something like that. Melee jobs, they would have to be like just, they would have to combine some of the jobs together. Those would be the specs. Physical range would be essentially between support and caster, or specifically between niche roles, but where they either do a lot of damage or they do a lot of support. Bard songs or Bard bursts and lots of dots, for example. Black Mage, for example, Black Mage either does damage or he provides, I don't know, maybe his ley lines apply to everyone and he provides our DPS, right? And he has some defensive spells, like Red Mage and Black Mage actually could probably just be the two specs. But like, this example is very poor. It would just literally kill the game.
You're always saving up for that 2-minute burst. Can't just be willy-nilly with all your abilities. We could also combine Solution 1 and 2 and give each group what they want without compromising either of their fun. Of course, each group can still play with whatever specialization they want in any tab of the party finder. Now I hear you. World of Warcraft does this whole spec thing, and they have the exact same community issue where players flame other players for not playing the best ones. But when they're not stroking their parses over clearing content, I hear they're also having a lot of fun with these different builds. And
Chad, this is a legitimate question. I don't want to be mean to Drac. But does he have any friends that actually play World of Warcraft? I think Jesse plays World of Warcraft. Maybe Sam. I don't know if Whoops plays World of Warcraft. But he needs to talk to some of them. Because, like, I don't know, from his explanation, it literally sounds to me like he thinks World of Warcraft is Final Fantasy. And Final Fantasy is World of Warcraft. Because some of these examples are a bit, I don't know, what's happening over there in NA? I don't understand.
same community issue where players flame other players for not playing the best ones.
Oh, do we have that issue in our community? That issue specifically is among tanks mainly, and mainly paladins and like literally every other tank. We do have some like differentiations in damage between some melee specs, but like I don't know. No, we do not. Yeah, like I'm very confused. I'm not seeing the Drax, stop fucking looking at me like that, you menacing bastard.
But when they're not stroking their parses over clearing content,
You mean just like Final Fantasy 14 players that stroke their parses over clearing content in speed killing?
here they're also having a lot of fun with these.
So that pretty much this is just just goes back to casuals versus raiders.
Different
Holy
builds.
fuck.
And that's the goal, fun. I only made this video because I'm seeing more and more players fixate on things that aren't really stopping them from enjoying the game. It's their own mentality that X job has better things that really keeps them from having fun. They just make these rules up because they don't understand that the best players can clear any content on any job because they know how to play the job, not because that job is the best. And the devs see this mentality and they don't want to give it any space to grow. I understand that completely. But we do have the power to speak up and change the way we look at the game. We can at least try. That doesn't mean we're going to get what we want, but I personally believe it's better to try and fail than to never even make the attempt. Whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, we need to give feedback. We need to come to a consensus. And we can do that, whether it be here, on the forums, on social media, everywhere that they have eyes. They are definitely watching, they're paying attention, they want to help. They want to let us have fun. So let's show them how that works.
The video had a good point at the start, but then it just went off the rails, and it's like I feel like Drac has opinions, just as essentially Drac would make a good community manager because he kind of sees issues, but like he sees issues specifically within his own sphere. He's still kind of playing very, like, his way of thinking is basically just a casual player, maybe a mid-core player that raids blindly or tries out to raid for fun. But so far what I'm hearing here is just I don't understand a lot of these points. Like, maybe am I out of touch? But like so far from what I'm getting from you guys, it's like I'm not understanding what's happening here. Like, solutions, they can be viable, but like they need problems for those specific solutions. The problem he brought up and the solutions he's offering just don't fucking fit or work or aren't thought through. It's like the two suggestions he offered, they don't apply to anything. Like, add a tab for fun or hardcore. We have that. I would like to show you where. It's either regular duty or high-end duty. For fun, hardcore. I mean, you can probably find a mod that changes these fucking words. I don't know. And the other solution, making specs, it's just not gonna work with the setup of jobs. They either need to revamp the entire game. Well, not the entire game, but like the entire job system, and it's just definitely gonna take longer than the entire fucking expansion. If they don't release jobs, they're gonna have to not release jobs for 2-3 expansions just to get this working and under control. Like, the amount of dev you need for something that big of an option in a game like this, specifically when we're reaching level 100 right now, and you want to add that is humongous amount of work that would be required. So some people might think this, like, theoretical, etc. It's like, no. You have no clue for what the fuck you're talking about if you think this is going to be easy and done in one expansion. The only solution that could work if we start mixing some of these jobs together. Mix Warrior with Paladin together, combine... No, actually, no. Paladin and Dark Knight, Gunbreaker and Warrior, maybe. No idea how they can work. But it's like... No, it just... I don't see it working. However you want to, you know, spin and eat this shit. Like... These solutions are just not it, Chief. Neither is, like, making a positive fucking section in the forums. Because at the end of the day, the forums aren't just like a section to send your specific mail. It's specifically a forum is a place of discussion. So if someone posts something positive, there's, same as people who are going to post something negative, there's just going to be people disagreeing with them. It's going to send mixed signals to devs in either case. I don't know. I feel like Drac has like good ideas at heart and good... The goal of this video is also, you know, close to heart, but I feel like it's just not it. And again, people, if you're going to be watching this, if I do decide to upload this in the comments, please tell me if what's happening on A, if this actually an issue you yourself are dealing with. Is this actually something you have to handle? Well, do you go into Party Finder and you're looking for fun groups or hardcore groups? Like, I need someone to actually give me context. What's happening over there? Maybe I'm missing something. But I'm not seeing the picture he's painting, and the solutions are just not it. Oh well. Everyone knows official forum are Clown Fiesta in any MMO. That's true. Any forums are a fucking Clown Fiesta. Don't yell at me. But yeah, for fun groups are honest with friends. I don't know why you need to PF for that. Yeah, exactly. It's like, who makes... Like, ultimate raiders and hardcore players will make groups for fun. Casual players are not fucking doing that. Like, legit, like, if I find Party Finder... let's see. Quick Hill for a book, farm, tank... tank mount farm, okay. Totem, Wormhole, LPDU, Felrune. Okay, these are prog groups, but treasure map, jail open, what? Yeah, it's like, actually, I think I found the for fun groups. There they are, right here. The club ones. We have, hey guys, we found the for fun Party Finder groups. Wait, is this what Drac fucking talked about? I hope not.